And so we got the mighty Hassan back in the building.
Who is recovering from a virus.
Yeah, you had a flesh-eating virus, right?
Yes, it's it's a rare flesh-eating virus that has me in the dark, literally.
Well, at least you're back and you're better than ever. Ah, see what I did there?
You bastard.
Well, how does it feel to be back?
I missed the show.
Yes, we missed you, our mighty audience. I got thousands and thousands upon thousands of fan mail asking why you
Yeah.
weren't here last week.
Everybody comes to see the main event, so I understand.
Yes, everybody comes to see the main event. Yeah, you were like LeBron. You were absent. Like LeBron is absent right now from the NBA playoffs. And
And we feel his absence.
do we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, why is that? Why do you say that with such emphasis?
uh, he adds another layer of suspense to the playoffs because the type of performances he puts on.
And the polarization of his character, I think, too. To piggyback on what you said,
Yeah.
it's he just brings excitement to some games, and the Western Conference as a whole it's been pretty tough to watch at times. Like it's been kind of sad watching the Clippers getting blown out and Utah getting dismantled by
Yeah.
Houston. Really, the only series that's been good has been Denver and San Antonio on the Western side, right? What did you say?
And Portland and OKC.
Yeah, Portland and OKC has been good to an extent. They've had like the two most recent games in OKC were really good. The games in Portland were not very close. Um,
Just
and
for the pure drama, the drama between Westbrook and Lillard, that stuff is great.
yeah, it's been the biggest storyline, right, of the playoffs.
I had no idea they hated each other that much.
What really set it off? Like I saw them have a little I saw them have a little like altercation when Dame got in Westbrook's face when Russell was on the ground and Dame got in his face. But I mean I haven't really seen a whole lot aside from them just dueling and like just trying to one up each other on the court.
Yeah, they just talk a lot of shit to each other, pretty much.
It's part of the game, There's
Yeah.
all the great ones talk smack, right?
But to be fair, Dame is kicking his ass.
Yeah, Dame is really solidifying himself as the second best point guard in the league right now. He's even putting himself above Kyrie and Chris Paul and the elite point guards in the league.
Yeah, I mean, he is a killer.
He's cold-hearted, like, but I mean, not to take anything away from CJ McCollum's. This game that we just got done watching, it was all CJ. CJ put it away with a big play on defense and hitting that three that just took the life out of OKC.
Yeah, he was very tactical. He was just a tactician at work. I love his game.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that he's he would be better off on a different team where he can kind of run an offense, or do you think he flourishes in that off-ball role?
I think he flourishes in that all-four role. He doesn't put any pressure on him to be the guy. Him and Dame, I feel like this is the best they're playing together right now. So I think they need to keep this gravy train going.
He's a very unusual player. He's short for the short for the shooting guard spot. I believe he's 6'2", if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So he's outmatched on defense for the most part, like depending on matchups. They've been able to hide his weaknesses because they don't really have anyone that can guard that he needs to guard on offense or on defense rather on OKC. And I think that's kind of like to transition. I think that's kind of OKC's biggest problem, right? Outside of Paul George and Russell Westbrook, they really don't have a whole lot on offense. I mean, Dennis Schroeder's there in spurts, but that seems to be their biggest issue is somebody that can help take the pressure off of George and Westbrook. And then, well, aside from Westbrook's dumb shots,
I just don't understand this about Sam Presti and all the talent that he's accumulated for that team. He has yet to get a sharpshooter for that team. I don't understand it.
yeah, that's exactly what they need. I mean, they have a lot of good. defensive guys, athletic guys like Jeremy Grant, Tony Ferguson, um, Nerlens Noel, who's very good on defense, but they don't have anyone that can step back and shoot a three the way like Al-Farouq Aminu can, for instance, or Sabonis. They just don't have that guy right now.
It, it's baffling to me. In all these years, how he's never done that.
Yeah, they literally like as long as Westbrook, even going back to the Westbrook and Kevin Durant days, they never had a lockdown 3-point shooter that I can remember.
Still, but I'm just shocked on how the series is going. How dominated Paul George and Westbrook are getting.
Yeah, Westbrook didn't score at all in the second half until like the last 2 minutes of the game.
1 point.
He scored one. Yeah, he missed a free throw. That's right. He missed the first free throw of his only opportunity to score. It's just I don't know what it is. Like I mean, is Portland really shutting him down, or I think it's Westbrook just taking really poor shots. Did you see some of those threes, the contested threes that he was taking? Instead of driving to the rim, he's just jacking up shots. I don't know what
There
it
was
is.
just one possession. There was like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, where Portland was just playing great defense, and I could tell Westbrook had the ball. And I'm like, any second, I'm like, he's gonna chuck a really bad three. He just can't help it. He's gonna do it. He's gonna chuck a really bad three. Sure enough,
That's what he does.
Westbrook. I was like, God damn it, you'll never change.
Yeah, he was 5 for 21 in the game today. He finished with 14 points, plus and minus negative 17, 2 of 7 from the 3-point line. He did have 7 assists, so I mean, he's still an elite playmaker when he wants to be. It's just that's the question really is he going to be a playmaker or is he going to try to get his own shot? But another guy too that I want to talk about is Steven Adams, who was once a
Hmm.
force on defense. I don't know if he's lost out there or if he athletically has slowed down. I'm not sure what it is, but what do you think it is?
I think he's lost. The whole team just looks lost.
Yeah, Steven Adams was a lockdown defensive center at one point, and now he just doesn't make a difference. Like I think they play better when Nerlens Noel is out there in a small sample size, and that's something I never thought I'd ever say in my life.
Their coach sucks. I'll be honest with you. Their coach sucks. They have no direction. Even when they had Durant, they had the same coach. He doesn't hold them accountable.
What do you mean?
If you have a mentally tough team, you're not going to let your team go on bad spurts where Westbrook and George just take really bad shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that seems to be the theme. Paul George, I don't know if George is. I wouldn't say George takes particularly bad shots. Like he doesn't take a ton of bad shots. There's some times where it's like, that was a tough contested mid-range shot or whatever. But it seems like that seems to happen when he gets the ball late in the shot clock. Like Westbrook just like, here, take the ball, do something with it.
Yeah.
There are times though where George holds the ball for too long, but I mean, other than that, he was a force this game. I mean, he had 32 points. He got to the free throw line 14 times. He made 8 of his shots, four threes. So
Yeah,
I
but
don't.
those two need to realize when it's time to take over for them to take over, or it's if it's appropriate for the team to score. They haven't figured that out.
Yeah. So the question here is if OKC loses, right, which is looking like it's going to happen when the series goes back to Portland on Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't remember. Some later this week when the series goes back to Portland, they're probably going to take the series. So OKC is going to be bounced in the first round again for the second straight year. And they seemingly can't blow it up and start over because Westbrook and Paul George are just due an insane amount of money. I don't think anybody's going to take that salary of either one of those guys because they're pushing 30 and they're on the wrong side of 30, that's for sure. So, what do you think is the answer for Oklahoma City in the offseason? Like, do you think this is like the best they're going to be?
I think they need to retool the roster.
And how can they do that? I mean, they don't have a lot of flexibility.
You could parlay Dennis Schroeder into a sharpshooter. You could trade Steve Adams and you can go small ball if you want. I think they should. Personally, I think they should go small ball. In my opinion.
And put George at the four and Grant at the five.
Yeah. Just something where they just switch it up and add more spacing to their offense because the spacing in their offense not the greatest.
Yeah, Westbrook needs space to work.
Yeah, like if they had like a center like Al Horford, they'd be a zillion times better.
Right, somebody who can shoot the three and shoot a long mid-range shot.
Exactly. He'll make you pay. Like it's not working with them right now. They need to retool the roster because they're stuck with these two. These are their guys. They have George in a 4 year, Russell in a 5 year contract. These guys are locked in. They just need to retool the roster.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, and that's going to be a tough task for their GM. The other question though is with Westbrook, he's going to be 31 this year. You know, his game has been fully reliant on explosiveness, getting to the rim, dunking at will, making layups, whatever it is. How do you see Westbrook transitioning later on in his career? I mean, he's obviously not consistent with mid-range shots and three-point shots. Do you think there's any way, or what do you think Westbrook's career is going to look like in 3 to 4 years? Like once his
Well,
athleticism declines.
he improved one of the biggest flaws in his game that people hadn't picked when he was at the peak of his athleticism, which was his playmaking. I think he's tremendously improved as a playmaker. So I think you'll see him more as a playmaker when he gets older, like even more than he is now, more than a playmaker. Like he might lead the league in assists even more in a couple of years.
So you don't think that he'll be much of a force on offense? He'll be in like a Chris Paul role where he can give you like 18 and 11 a night.
Yeah, but you know, if he puts work to it, he could become a very good 3 point or a good 3 point shooter because it's not like his form is ugly.
Yeah, what do you think it is with him? Like, I don't know. Do you think he's aiming, or he just like he's mentally not there when he shoots? Like he lacks confidence.
No, the thing with Westbrook is he plays one way. He plays with full speed, full velocity, full attack mode. Like I honestly think even at 37, he'll be playing the same way.
So you think he just rushes his shots?
Yeah, because he knows one way to play, which is balls out to the wall. That's what's always costing him in the playoffs. Because in the playoffs, there's times where you need to slow it down. Where the game needs to slow down, and you need to just piece by piece break down defense and just kill him. He knows one way to play, which is speed, velocity, and just full force.
Hmm. All right. Well, let's talk about Portland. So, are you surprised? I know you are, but are you surprised that Portland's really putting a dominant performance over OKC like this?
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I'm shocked because they were a very weak team last year. I mean, they got the fuck beat out of them last year by the Pelicans. The Pelicans beat that ass last year. Rajon Rondo outplayed Damian Lillard last year, people.
That's kind of hard to believe with the way that Damian Lillard has really transformed and played this year. He's looked like an MVP candidate throughout most of this regular season and definitely into the playoffs. So they've definitely come a long way.
I just love how personal Dame took this series. I think he heard the whispers about how this was going to be an easy series for OKC, how Russ was better than him. He heard all of that, and he just internalized it and just is the ultimate alpha on the court. Like, you know who's the best player on the court in this series.
Yeah, it's been Dame. It's been Dame every game. And his stat line this game, he had 24 points, 8 assists, 3 rebounds. He he even played hard on defense. I think that's the biggest knock on his game is that he doesn't give a lot of effort. And yeah, they ask a lot of him on offense. But so do you think it's fair that he gets that criticism that he doesn't give a lot on defense when he has to carry his team on offense like he does?
I don't think it's fair because I think people have to understand, like, he does so much other stuff for his team. He has to be the best playmaker, the best scorer, and he has to be the leader on the team. Like he has a lot of responsibility on him, and but I do think this year though he's improved tremendously on defense.
Yeah, he looks the part as an all around superstar. But I think a lot of people thought that he was kind of at his ceiling. You know, he was going to be that player where
Yeah,
it's like, oh, he's a really good regular season player.
yeah,
He'll lead his team to like a fifth, sixth seed, and then that's it. He won't do a whole lot. But the Blazers got the third seed, and I think a lot of people were shocked by that as well.
yeah. His focus level just looks really different this year. Like he's on another focus level and zone this year. He looks locked in. Like he looks like he wants to go to the conference finals.
They realistically can because presumably they win this series. They're gonna get either Denver and San Antonio, and I don't like either one of them against Portland right now.
I don't. I
But
think yeah,
huh?
yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, and I think, but I do think particularly the big men that both those teams possess will give Portland a ton of trouble. Nikolai Jokic and LaMarcus Aldridge specifically will give Ennis Cantor and Alfred Aminu and Harkless, all those guys, a ton of trouble. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
Cantor, as good as he is on the offensive rebounds and as good as he is on the pick and roll on offense, he cannot do anything on defense. He can't switch. He can't pick up. He's not a tough defender. You know, he's not somebody that you go to the paint and you're like, damn, I shouldn't have tried this guy. You know, he's a guy that just plays Swiss cheese defense, and that's not gonna roll with Jokic and Aldridge.
Both of those bigs, I think, are going to give them headache. I think Lamarcus will give them more headaches because of his shooting ability. But in terms of guard play, they've got both teams beat.
Yeah, they do. They they have. I mean, C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard. That's got to be the second best 1-2 in the league behind Steph and Clay.
Yeah,
You know, and
definitely.
it's not by much. If McCollum was a better if McCollum was an elite defender like Clay Thompson, it would be the conversation would I think would be different because McCollum is
If
more
he was
talented.
elite, yeah, if he was elite like Clay, yeah, it'd be a different conversation.
Yeah, if he was like 6'5" and an elite defender with his ball handling and shot making ability, I think it would be a complete different conversation because
Yeah,
he's a lot more skilled off the dribble than Clay is. And, you know, he's not the
he's
knockdown shooter, but he's got more nasty stuff in his arsenal than Clay does.
he's very undersized and he can do a lot more.
Yeah, the dynamic works well, and it's weird because it's like, you know, maybe three possessions up the court, Damian Lillard will run the offense, and then CJ will run the offense for another two possessions. They work it out well, and CJ plays well with the second unit,
Yeah,
you know.
but
But
they know what it is though. At crunch time, they know whose time it is. It's Dame's time.
yeah, it's Dame time exactly. But Ennis Cantor really has been the difference. He's come in and filled filled Nurkic's role perfectly.
Yeah, I know he could score and rebound. I just didn't know he could be a good team defender like this. Not saying he's a good individual defender, but he's a good team defender. I'm shocked by the stuff he's doing in this series.
Yeah, I think it was always there. I just think he lacked motivation. Now he's motivated. He's got two guys like Dame and CJ who want to succeed, and
Yeah,
they're very vocal leaders. And I think he knows that he's got to step up or he's going to be left behind. He'll never get another opportunity like this. This is an opportunity for him to really make some money in the off season. And
yeah, man. Once you've been in prison for 2 years, like he's been in with the Knicks, I think you're just at this point burning for an opportunity to show your worth, and he's got it.
yeah, plus all the legal trouble that he could potentially be in his homeland of Turkey.
Uh,
Dude is crazy, man. He's
yeah,
super outspoken.
super.
Um, I mean, what do you think is OKC's key to victory though? If they're gonna come back and pull off the upset, what do you think they have to do?
I think it's over, bro. I mean, there's nothing they can do. Portland just has them beat. Uh, Continue to beat them up on the glass, get to the free throw line, and make Lillard and McCollum play defense.
Yeah, I think that's the real I think that's the real key is just figuring out a way to get the ball Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum's hand, and they just have to shore up on defense. Do you remember at one point when this was the best defensive team in the league?
Yeah, I can still see that in spurts, but they just look so scrambled.
Yeah, and it's like I think they just lean on Paul George too much to do everything.
George and Russell, they lean on both of them way too much. You can tell by the way they play. Their body language is like, all right, guys, take us there.
And to be fair, I mean, let's look at some of their bench players. They have Markieff Morris, Raymond Felton. You know, Raymond Felton, he was an average at best player in his prime. So now that he's out of his prime, there's not much that he can offer. Nerlens Noel was essentially a castaway in Philly, so I don't know. It's just
It's a weird bench.
yeah, it's very weird. All right, well let's move on. Let's talk about your boys. Let's talk about your Celtics, man. The only team that's won a series so far, and I'm sure Milwaukee will be right behind them tomorrow. And that I'm about 99% sure Milwaukee's going to beat Detroit. So for now, Boston is the only team that has won a playoff series so far. Where I know you're a big Celtics fan, but were you shocked at a four-game sweep here?
Uh, I called the sweep before the Marcus Smart injury, and then after the Marcus Smart injury, I called it 7 games because I just wasn't sure how we'd perform. So I kind of was surprised, but then I kind of wasn't either.
Yeah, and the problem really on Indiana's side was they just didn't have enough scoring.
Yeah,
Defensively, they were fine. It
they were
wasn't like they were
phenomenal.
getting blown out.
Yeah,
They played hard. They were good on defense. They kept the games close, but then when they needed buckets, they just didn't have anybody to turn to give them big buckets.
exactly. They have really nobody who can create their own shot. Nobody.
Yeah, the closest thing to it is Darren Collison, and if he's your best scorer, you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, because he's inconsistent as shit.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player, but he's not Victor Oladipo.
Yeah,
He's not Kyrie Irving. He's not Jason Tatum. He's not gonna be able to give you his
that
own shots at will.
that team could be a major problem though next year. They play hard as shit. That could be a major problem next year.
Yeah, and I mean, and they've got the best defensive player in the league in Miles Turner. I mean, well, look at him, what he has morphed into. Did you see
Yeah,
this coming? Did you see him becoming the force that he is?
I mean I saw the defensive ability, but I didn't.
The IQ really was what wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean
He's
he's turned
grown.
out to be a heck of a player.
Yeah, he's grown astronomically, and Bogdanovich, Sabonis, they're like the no-name squad. Uh,
They need a couple more pieces, and they're going to be a threat in the East.
Corey Joseph too. Like Corey Joseph was a cast off as well.
Again, had a really good game on
They
Wednesday.
got a bunch of guys with a chip on their shoulder. They're just are looking to play really hard. They just need one more stud. I think they should trade for Mike Conley in the offseason.
Mike Conley.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some pieces. Then then they sacrificed a lot of their depth to get Mike Conley.
So what? You got an elite level point guard who will probably be an all star in the East, and you got Victor Oladipo.
Yeah, those are really two good building blocks. Plus, you're gonna have Miles Turner.
And then you have cap space. They have cap space this summer.
Yeah, they're gonna have cap space. They're gonna have to decide if they want to keep some of their young talent. But let's talk about the Celtics. So they're gonna get the winner. They're gonna get the winner of the. Well, they're gonna get Milwaukee. Let's just call
Can
it.
we stop that? I was about to say they're
Yeah,
gonna get the winner. Like we all
yeah,
know it's Milwaukee.
yeah. Let's just call it. They're gonna get Milwaukee. Are you nervous about
I'm
this
scared.
matchup?
I'm petrified. I'm scared because we have not played great in the first round. I think we've played bad. I think had Indy had more scores, we could have easily been beat, or that could have easily gone 7 games. Uh, don't get me wrong. There's been some encouraging spots. Like Gordon Hayward
Hmm.
was amazing tonight. Jalen Brown's been great. Tatum's been more aggressive. Horford's going to be constant, but defensively we have lapses. We turn the ball over a lot. Our offense goes through lulls. These are all dangerous things that if it happens against Milwaukee, Milwaukee could go on a 15-10-0 run really quickly.
Yeah, it's defensively, no team has an answer for Giannis. So, it's not really fair to say that Boston doesn't have anyone that can guard Giannis, but they don't really have anyone that can slow him down. He's too fast for Horford. He's too strong for Tatum and Hayward. He's just too big for Jaylen Brown. There's really nobody that can slow him down. So it's gonna be interesting how that goes. And then, who's gonna guard Brook Lopez out on the 3-point line? That's a lot of things that intrigue me. Can you think Baines can keep up? You know, he can
No,
keep up.
like they have a lot of weapons. That's why I'm telling you, I'm petrified. Like they could either beat us in five or shit could get real ugly.
I assume you would rather play Toronto in a perfect world, right?
No, I mean listen, both of those teams have given us fits in the past, so the path to the finals is not going to be easy with either of those teams.
And the Toronto, I mean, they lost to the freaking Magic though, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But so now you say that Boston has not looked good on offense. Where do you think the holes lie? To me, I think where some of like the drop off in Terry Rozier has been one of the biggest things, and obviously they're missing Marcus Smart's hustle and overall tenacity. But what do you think has been the biggest drop on offense?
I mean, it's just adjustment to roles. These guys had prominent roles last year in the playoffs, and now they have to take a back seat again. It can be rough. I mean, and to be fair, like I'm not saying that they have been generally horrendous on offense, but they're so up and down. Like they'll have a quarter where they're playing phenomenal defense, where Indiana cannot score because Boston is just locking them up, and then they'll have a quarter where their offense is clicking, but their defense isn't clicking. They have not put together a full, complete game.
And that's you got to have your A game against Milwaukee. And they were,
That's what,
hmm?
yeah, that's where I'm concerned because they haven't put together a full game. You need to be on your P's and Q's and be perfect against a team like Milwaukee.
That series can go one of two ways. Either Milwaukee can just stifle over them, or it can go 7 games. I don't know if there's really an in between there.
Yeah, because they beat Milwaukee last year.
It's a whole different Milwaukee team, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. They've added a new coach and they added two players that can. They've added Brook Lopez and Mirotic and George Hill. Three players. I'm sorry, that can have an impact.
And Chris Middleton is really coming to his own as well. Plus, Giannis has been the best player in the world. So there's a lot of things going right now for Milwaukee, and it's going to be an intriguing matchup.
The
Um,
only edge that Boston has over them is clearly the depth. Like they have a stronger bench and they have multiple scoring options.
you said the edge that Boston has.
It's the depth and they have multiple scoring
Yeah,
options.
it's true.
That's the only edge that Boston has over them.
And another thing too that I was noticing, particularly in this game, in today's game, Gordon Hayward, he didn't go off, but he had a great game.
Yeah.
Maybe the best game that he's played in the playoffs thus far. And I was watching it, and I was just thinking, okay, this is what the Celtics signed up for when they traded for Kyrie and they signed Gordon Hayward. This is really what the team was supposed to be like, and we're finally seeing a glimpse of it. Like just two all-star players, great, spectacular on offense. But then you have other guys that were like the stars of the show last year, like Tatum and Terry Rozier, that are like, wait, what about us? So is that really the biggest thing? Is there's too much talent and they can't make it work?
I would say that, but then you look at the Warriors, they make it work. And I think with the Celtics team is you're seeing it work together a little bit now because Tatum's level of aggression and production is about the same as last year's playoffs. He's giving them consistency. Uh, Rozier has taken a step back because he's not in the starting lineup. Jaylen Brown has been playing great. Last game he had 23. Today he had 14. Uh, Gordon Gordon's really for the past 2 months has been playing consistently good to me. I think they're finding a healthy balance, but there's going to be times where it's just going to be a problem because they do have a lot of talent.
Yeah, and I don't want to say they have too much talent and can't make it work, but I think too many egos, rather, I think is the better word. You got guys that think they're better than they are, maybe some of the younger guys on the team.
You really gotta think about it though. Golden State has 5 guys before DeMarcus Cousins' injury. They had 5 guys who were starters, so they didn't need to manage minutes that crazy. This team has 10 deep that can all command a lot of minutes. You have Gordon,
Right.
Kyrie, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Marcus Smart, uh, Terry
Marcus
Rozier,
Morris.
Marcus Morris. All these guys can contribute. And then you got to find minutes for Baines, too, because he has an impact, too. It's a lot of fucking talent to find minutes for.
And if anybody can do it, it's Brad Stevens, and even he has had trouble figuring out the puzzle at times this year.
Because it's a lot of talent.
And then you add in, Kyrie Irving's mouth, and that really changes a lot of things too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been times throughout the regular season where, like, just players were flat out done with his shit, right? Like, Kyrie's trying to pump him up, and they just don't want to hear it.
Like, I get he's a 26-year-old guy who's trying to just figure it out. But, dude, rule number one, never throw your teammates under the bus. Ever.
Yeah, the way he did it was just really, really
Do it in
bizarre.
private, not in public.
Yeah, it was bizarre, to say the
Yeah.
least. Like, what is going on? But so let's move on. Let's talk about Milwaukee and Detroit for a second, because that's we'll blow through that one real quick. Um,
Why is Detroit in the playoffs?
yeah,
Please tell me why.
that was the question.
Why is Detroit? Like, Miami would have given Milwaukee more of a competitive series.
Yeah, seriously. But my question is, Blake Griffin really as hurt as they're saying he is? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, come on, we know his history with knee injuries. I think it's pretty obvious. The guy has always had trouble staying healthy.
I know, it's just saying you get to the playoffs and they were playing so well. They were one of the hottest teams. Not towards the end, but right
In the
after the
beginning,
All
I know.
Star break.
Yeah, I know.
Right after the All Star break, they were really hot and on fire, and they were looking like a surprise team in the East, like they were gonna take the sixth seed, and they fell hard, and now they just it's like watching a professional team against a G League team at some points, where
I
like
mean, I look at their roster and I'm just like, this is a really bad roster.
yeah, I don't know what the answer is for them. They're seemingly in a rut, and I don't think they're gonna come out of it anytime soon. But
No, they. I guarantee you, some of their players are booking vacation plans right now.
yeah, they're gonna have a lot of time to vacation. This is just a sad series, and overall, it's not good for the NBA having such an unentertaining series because it's tough to sell Giannis, when nobody's watching him play because nobody wants to
Exactly.
watch him.
Exactly. Like, you're supposed to be the next face of the league, and you're in a bullshit series. I don't know. Watch that shit. I haven't watched one game of Detroit and Milwaukee. Not one game.
Me either. I watched a few bits and pieces of a few. I watched the bits and pieces of all three games, and the little bit that I watched is just sad.
Uh, let's get into a series I want to really get into. Let's get into Denver and San Antonio.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
I think you underestimated the Spurs a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, I would say so. I definitely did. Gotta admit that. I thought, I didn't think Denver was gonna stifle them, but I just didn't think that San Antonio had the talent to keep up, and they're showing it. They're making it work. They're scrappy. They play hard. Derek White has been a pleasant surprise.
Ridiculous. They got something with that kid. He could be really, really, really good.
Yeah, his ball handling and his playmaking is weak, but he is a very good defender. I don't know if he's an elite defender. I don't think he's there yet, but he's a very good defender.
And he's a very good scorer.
Yeah, naturally athletic too. It's just he's got some good things you want to see out of a potential starting point guard in the future.
I admit I underestimated Denver. I thought they were soft as cookies, and they showed some grit. The last game in San Antonio, they showed some grit. They got some toughness. They don't lay down. They come back. So they've earned my respect.
They were getting beat pretty bad on in Saturday's game. I believe it was like 11-point deficit, 12-point deficit, and then they just came roaring back in the fourth quarter and took over the game. Just
That's the weirdness about the series, though. San Antonio's had like really strong leads in a lot of the games over them, and they just keep coming back.
yeah, San Antonio's been in control for the majority of the series. For a good
Yeah.
majority of every quarter, San Antonio's been in control, and it just looked like, okay, it's gonna be another loss for Denver, and then they came back.
Who do you have winning?
Um, I think Denver. I think Denver is gonna take the momentum from Saturday's game, and then they're gonna come out and just finish it off. I think they're gonna take control of the series. They have to figure out how to get Paul Millsap more involved, though, if they're gonna do that, because San
Yeah.
Antonio doesn't have anybody that can even think about guarding him. He's a problem when he gets the ball, but the issue is they fall in love with like the pick and roll with Jokic and Jamal
Murray.
Murray, and it's like, why don't you
Yeah.
just give Millsap the ball and in the post and let him work? Nobody can guard him. I don't get it.
It's almost like he's not non-existent on offense.
Yeah, but then there's like points where he'll get the ball and he'll take five straight shots, and he'll make like three out of those five shots, and then he just won't get the ball for another 5 minutes.
Uh, I'm gonna stick with my pick with the Spurs, but the Spurs have to win. They have to win the next game. They have to.
Yeah, they have to, but it's gonna be in Denver, which is gonna be tough.
They've already won one game in Denver.
I know, just coming off a big loss though, it's gonna be tough to go back out in Denver and do it and do it again.
I always give them the benefit of the doubt because of their coaches.
Yeah, Popovich is the best in the business. We all know that.
Yeah, it's been a very entertaining series. Uh,
This is the best series of the first round by far. Like, there's really,
by far.
everything else has just been been tough to watch for the most part.
Don't be
Aside from,
shocked if this goes 7 games.
I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be shocked. Not in the slightest. But I'm curious about the Spurs' talent level. Like, that's really where it rests for me. It's like,
Yeah, because they go on some weird spurts where DeRozan just starts taking some funky shots.
yeah, and then like Rudy Gay, who's been, I don't know, he hasn't been terrible, but he's not been great. And Patty Mills is just not the same player he was, and Bellinelli is super old, so it's like, how long can these older kind of no name players keep it up? And then,
I've wanted Marco Bellinelli on my team for so many years because he's just like a knockdown shooter to me. He brings so much value because of his shooting to me.
yeah, he does, but is that what San Antonio needs? I don't think that's really what San Antonio needs. I think San Antonio needs a player like Kawhi Leonard who's gonna take the game over. They don't have that since Kawhi left. Yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge is great. He's fine and dandy, but what is he gonna do against a tougher team? Like, what is he gonna do against the Warriors when he's got Draymond Green guarding him? You know what I mean?
Well, that's the beauty of the Spurs, though. They constantly re-evolve. Like their system of playing has already re-evolved since they traded away Kawhi. They've become a more mid-range, attack the basket centric type team because they don't have the spacing or the talent for that type of play anymore.
Yeah, that's what the great teams do. But I'm saying, like, how far can you get against a team like the Warriors or a team like Portland? How far can you get doing that? Doing that?
Right now, the Spurs are stuck in that middle ground where they're not good, they're not bad, but they're just good enough.
Yeah, they're good enough, exactly, and they're gonna play Portland if they win.
Yeah, who might kick their ass?
So are you yeah, Portland will probably run over them. You think, right? We're kind of
Yeah,
in unison there,
yeah.
and that's one to watch out for too. That might be a good series.
That might be a really surprisingly good series too. Like I'll never count out the Spurs. Popovich just refuses to let his team die.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're very much like the Patriots in the NFL.
Yeah, they just won't die.
and even after all three of their former superstars are all retired or on a different team, they're still kicking. But what do you think? What do you think is the key though? We said the key for Denver is Paul Millsap's involvement. What do you think the key is for San Antonio?
More and more and more of Derek White and LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah, Derek White has been at times a force.
They can't guard him.
Yeah, he was not good last game. He was 3 of 8. You
I don't
know,
think any of the Spurs were good last game.
yeah. Aside from Aldridge, Aldridge was the only one that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek White has been the key. So Derek, you think Derek White and Aldridge are the key? Um, and I think DeRozan's ability to take over games too. I think if they need DeRozan to tap into that potential to take the next step.
Yeah, they really do. They need him to just get to the free throw basket at least 8 to 10 times.
Yeah, he's got to be more aggressive. He's got to lay off some of those mid-range pull-up shots and start attacking the rim. Use some of that God-given athleticism that he has.
Exactly.
And then what do you think about Brooklyn and Philly? I gotta say, aside from Kyrie, Joel Embiid is my favorite personality in the league. What do you think about him calling Jared Dudley a nobody?
I can't wait for Toronto to beat the dog shit out of Philly the next season. I mean the next series because Philly's a team that just needs to be humbled. They
Elaborate.
just there's certain teams that are just think they should go to the finals or they deserve to go to the finals just because of their talent alone. And then Philly strikes me as that team. They come off very entitled.
Hmm. So why? I mean, why do you say that though? Like, is it because of the way that Embiid and Jimmy Butler carry themselves?
Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, and Ben Simmons to a certain extent carry themselves. Like you've done nothing in the league of significance yet. Nothing. Nothing. You got bounced out the second round by a starless Celtic team last year. You've done nothing.
Yeah.
You, they should have kicked our ass last year. They were supposed to kick the entire basketball world had Philly kicking our ass last year.
Yeah, and they Phillied it.
They Phillied it.
They Phillied it. Yeah. The key for them is Ben Simmons. This guy is 6'10". He's fucking 7 foot tall, man, and he's non-existent on offense at times. I don't get it. I'm dumbfounded by it. How this guy is so naturally gifted with every physical ailment that you could possibly put in an NBA player. He's like the prototypical NBA player. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
And he just, how do you not get to the rim at will? I don't understand. I
He
know
played
we're not basketball players, but I just don't get it.
he plays too chill sometimes.
Yeah, like he's okay with just watching Embiid and Jimmy Butler work and Redick work.
Yeah. And that's another reason. Like some of the stuff that Joel Embiid was doing in that Brooklyn series was dirty. Like the way he was fouling the center in Brooklyn, that was dirty.
Jared Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ignited that big brawl.
Yeah, then you bitch and complain every time you think you're getting fouled. Like, dude, shut up. Just play.
Yeah, there was another play too. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was like, man, Embiid, they gotta fucking do something. Like throw him out of the game or like something. I can't remember what the other foul was. I think it was on Jared Allen too, where he just knocked the hell out of him. And I was like, dude, are you serious?
A lot of these NBA players are spoiled prima donnas,
He
and
elbowed him. That's what it was. He elbowed Jared Allen. You remember that when he elbowed him?
yeah, yeah. Like, dude, that's straight up
Dirty.
just dirty. A lot of these NBA players are spoiled and entitled, and I think Embiid is a perfect example of that.
And don't get me wrong, he's naturally gifted. He's probably the best big man in the league. Maybe him or Anthony Davis, depending on the day. Just he's naturally gifted. He's another guy that's got every physical element you could possibly put in an NBA player, and just the attitude is really what holds them back at times, And what did Jimmy Butler do to get ejected from the game? Like I watched the clip multiple times, and I'm trying to figure out why Jimmy Butler got
I
ejected.
don't know why both of them got ejected. There was no hitting. There was no nothing. I don't know why neither of them got ejected.
Yeah, like I mean, I get it why you want to inject, why you would want to eject Jared Dudley because he came over and pushed Embiid and then threw Simmons into the stands. I get that, but I'm not sure what Jimmy Butler did wrong there. I don't know.
Like it was the weirdest, most randomest thing in the world.
It was good though. It had a little old school NBA feel, and the Philly. There's something about the Philly New York rivalry that's always enticing. Um,
Listen, I got respect for Jared Dudley. He stood his ground. He let Embiid and Simmons know, I'm not afraid of you fuckers. Bring it on.
no, he should be, and he also called Ben Simmons an average player in the half court press.
Which he was not totally wrong about.
No, he's not, and he seemingly woke up the beast in Ben Simmons, I suppose. I mean, he's been playing great since Jared Dudley made that comment. The first two games, it was like, "Where's Ben Simmons?" And then the next two, he's there all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Um, I can't wrap my finger around what it is that like like you took 12 shots. You played 39 minutes and you took 12 shots. Tobias Harris is taking 20 shots, and B is taking 22, but Simmons is taking 12.
he plays too chill. He plays too chill.
Yeah, and Reddick, who is a great shooter, but yeah, like wouldn't Reddick be better in a six-man role? Don't you think?
Yes. Any team that JJ Redick has ever started for, it's been bad because he's a bad defender.
Yeah, he's a liability out there on defense.
They're gonna get exposed by really good teams. You have a sharp shooting two guard who's an extreme liability at the on defense, and then you have a point guard who can become an extreme liability on offense because he refuses to shoot.
And they have nothing on the bench, no kind of production. I mean,
Absolutely nothing.
Mike Scott has been their best bench player, and that's scary to say.
That's not good.
You know, I don't even know who some of these guys are. Like I know T.J. McConnell, but I don't know who Bolden is and James Ennis. I mean, I don't know who those guys are. No disrespect to them.
That's gonna be their demise against Toronto because Toronto has a better bench and Toronto is going to kick that ass.
Yeah, Toronto is ultra deep. Um, yeah, let's talk about the series though just for a minute, just for another minute. Do you think there's a key to victory for Brooklyn?
Brooklyn played great the last game. Realistically, the series should be tied right now. It's just Brooklyn's execution on offense in the end was terrible. They were missing Jared Dudley because he was actually playing great before he got ejected. They need to do a better job at rebounding because if they had done a better job at rebounding, Joel Embiid doesn't get that rebound and he doesn't kick it out from Mike Scott for the game-winning three.
So what do you think the key is for them though? Like, what do you think that they could do differently to kind of like
They need to all gang rebound, like the whole team needs to just like run for rebounds, gang rebound, and they need to execute their half court offense better. 'Cause right now their half court offense is just like D'Angelo Russell pick and roll.
right or just give the ball to Karis LeVert and get out the way?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's but what else are they gonna do? I mean, Jared Dudley, he's a good shooter.
The other guy,
Jared Allen's like a pick and roll guy. They don't have a post player.
yeah, but they were getting to the free throw line a lot. Game one, they've gotten away from that. They need to get to the free throw line again.
They got to the free throw line more than Philly, I believe it was in this last game.
They did.
Yeah, they did. Philly got to the line 31 times. Sorry, Philly got to the line 21 times, and Brooklyn got to the line 31 times.
Keep that going
Yeah,
because it kept the game close. So they need to keep that going.
yeah, the game was close. I mean, this has been an exciting series that just, if Brooklyn had won this game, we'd be talking about it in a different light. It looks like Philly, they're going back to Philly. It looks like Philly's probably going to get the sweep. Especially if they have Embiid playing, because there's only so much he can do. Only so much Jared Allen can do, and he's not on the court for 48 minutes, so there's only so much he can do against Embiid.
Yeah.
But It,
Like that last play that Brooklyn ran in the pick and roll when they handed it to Jared Allen and he got covered by everybody. That was horrible.
oh yeah, that was tough to watch. It's just you give it a guy who's not very good with the ball in his hands, like you put him in a tough spot.
I'm like, that's the last play you're running in a playoff game?
Yeah, you got to get D'Angelo Russell open for a three or Levert for a three. You got to do something there. Do you
Yeah.
think Karis LeVert's really finding his groove though since his return from injury?
Yeah, he's really good. They got a bright future with that kid. He's really, really good.
They got to find a way to keep Russell right at all costs.
Yeah. I think Russell in the offseason, he needs to focus on becoming a much more efficient shooter because he's not an efficient
He's
scorer.
got to get to the line too.
Yeah.
He's got to attack. He's got to stop settling for the mid-range shots and the
And the
three-point
long
shots.
twos because
Yeah,
it's killing this team.
yeah. He's got to attack. He's I believe he this season averaged was the well, not the first player, but he set a record for averaging the most points with the least amount of free throw attempts.
Yeah, like he hasn't had one game in this series where I thought, okay, D'Angelo's taking another step.
Yeah, he's been great though. He's been the same D'Angelo Russell from the season.
Exactly.
He just
That's the
hasn't been the
problem.
cold-blooded killer that's gonna take your team to the next level.
Yeah.
And
They always
Brooklyn's overachieved as it is too. So
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're a Cinderella story to begin with. They're not supposed to be here. But the fact is, they really could have won that last game.
yeah, and they could realistically win the next game too. I don't know if they just don't have the firepower to beat Philly. It's probably gonna be Philly moving on.
Yeah.
Um, and they're gonna face Toronto, who in the first game of the series against the Orlando Magic lost a big upset, big upset game over the Magic. If DJ Augusty doesn't hit that phenomenal last second shot, well, we're looking at Toronto in a four-game sweep. Um, what do you think about the Magic though? They've been a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, but it's just like they're another team that's like just stuck in the middle ground place. I don't really see a high future for them in the future because they could just potentially miss the playoffs next year. They got in virtually this year by luck. So they play hard though, and I'm a big fan of Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, I was about to say Aaron Gordon is one of the most underrated players in the league.
Yeah, Mini Blake.
Mini Blake, that's a good comparison. What do you think about Isaac though, Jonathan Isaac? He's a young guy. He plays well. You can tell the IQ isn't there yet. I think
He's
when he
very green.
matures, he's gonna be good.
Yeah, right now he's very green. He has a lot of holes in his game, but he could turn into a player.
Yeah, and he he just can't stay on the court. He's just in foul trouble constantly. So they're just better without him at some
Right.
point.
Yeah, for right now.
And I watched this team play. Like I was watching. I don't remember if it was this game or the previous game, game three, where they left Terrence Ross. Like the Raptors left Terrence Ross open on multiple plays, and nobody's passing him the ball.
That's just lack of awareness and lack of experience. Like, because Terrence Ross has been really getting buckets.
Yeah, he's great. He only took 5 shots this game. You got
He's
to get
athletic
him
as
more
shit.
involved. I don't
Yeah,
understand. He's an incredible athlete. He's
incredible.
and he can shoot. He can really shoot the lights out. Like
Yeah,
I don't get why he's not getting the ball more. I'm just like I'm watching. I'm like I'm yelling at my TV like pass him the fucking ball.
bad coaching.
Huh?
Bad coaching.
Yeah. It's something. I mean, Evan Fournier is good too.
Yeah,
He's been
they've got some pieces. Vukovic. They've got some young pieces.
yeah. But Vucevic's probably gonna be gone this season. It's looking like he's gonna get
Oh
paid.
yeah, he's unrestricted. Yeah, yeah, he could be gone.
Yeah, he'll probably be gone. They get Markel Fultz on the horizon. I'm sure he'll be if he can recover from his injury, he'll be fine. And they got some bright spots. I just don't know what the future's looking like you said for Orlando.
Yeah,
It's gonna be tough. But Toronto looks phenomenal.
Yeah, I think they're awake now, and they're gonna be a fucking problem
Yeah, they took that punch in the face that Orlando gave them in the first game, and they just responded by just beating the ever loving hell out of them in
every
the
single
following
game
three
after that.
games.
Yeah, they're not playing.
Yeah, they're I like the lineup with Marcus Gasol and Pascal Siakam. I really like that lineup. I think you got to have a guy like Marcus Gasol starting because he just makes such a difference on defense that Serge Ibaka doesn't necessarily make because Gasol is bigger and more physical than Ibaka. You know, Ibaka's naturally a gifted shot blocker,
Yeah,
but Marcus Gasol is just a guy you don't want to see when you're driving to the lane, and it shows. It shows a lot throughout this series. You know, what do you think?
I mean, Marcus saw the guy's never won a championship, but he plays like a championship player. So much poise and just patience in his game.
Yeah, I thought it was a phenomenal move for Toronto to pick him
Yeah,
up.
high IQ player. It's a great pickup.
And your boy Kawhi, he's just he's our boy. I mean, he's the favorite of the show here. We love Kawhi Leonard.
The
Can't
most
say enough
dangerous man
praise
in
to
the
him.
league.
He had 34 points this game, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He's an all-around player. He's the best two-way player in the league,
Yes.
by a mile. Paul George, yeah, he was great in the regular season this year, but Kawhi just purely the best two-way player. And his game is very simple. Um, just the post-up game on offense and the crossovers. He's very smooth and very easy to watch. If you like the little things.
He is the most dangerous man in the East, and he's not even at full strength right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very loaded statement, and it's very telling of what Toronto can be, and what Kawhi can be, and but that's the thing with Toronto. The rep they've had is like, okay, good regular season team, and then they can't do it in the playoffs. And we saw that when Kyle Lowry had 0 points. You remember that game?
Yeah, but their go-to guy this year is a champion. He knows how to get there.
Yeah, Kawhi knows how to get there, but he can only go so far. If a guy like Kyle Lowry is not making a difference, uh, at all in the game, that's gotta come in hand. That's gotta come in play, right? Like, you gotta have Kyle Lowry, your second best player, doing more than what he's been doing, right?
I mean, to be fair, I think he's been better since that one game where he had 0 points.
Yeah, no doubt, I would agree.
But he could literally be the factor that makes or breaks Kawhi Leonard staying in Toronto because of his play.
Yeah. Do you think Kawhi is gonna stay?
I think he, I think he's going to the Clippers,
Yeah, a lot of people have it booked already. He's going to the Clippers, and I can't say that I disagree. You know,
and he'd fit that team perfectly. Him and Pat Bev on the same team. Oh my God.
it's just dirty thinking about it. Well, let's transition. Let's talk about the Clippers. So, Clippers had the most impressive comeback yet, and one of the most entertaining. They played one of the most entertaining games when they came back with 31 points, trailing 31 points going into the fourth quarter, and just they did it. 31-point comeback in about 15 minutes of basketball. It was incredible. But that seemed to piss off Golden State more, right? And Golden State just has been pummeling them ever since.
Um, it's almost like they made that comeback, and for the life of me, I forgot because Golden State's been kicking their ass so much.
Yeah, seriously. Like Golden State was like, all right, bet. But I equate what LA did to like in baseball where where you work the pitcher, just tire out the pitcher, get his pitch count up. So LA just tiring out Golden State for Houston, I think is good for the league and for fans. Just having Golden State going in a little bit more tired, not going in and riding the hype of a 4 game sweep. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely see what you're saying, but I still think Golden State's going to beat the dog shit out of Houston.
You think so?
I think this time they're going to beat the dog shit out of them.
Why are you so confident in that?
Uh, I feel like Steph is just playing another level right now. Like the guy's shooting 60% from three right now in the series.
Yeah.
He's on another level right now.
Klay Thompson
and,
too was on one.
and then Durant's level of aggression has increased. And when Durant's aggressive, no team stands a chance.
Yeah, let's talk about Kevin Durant for a second. I know we talked about this, off air in private conversations. I was just laughing at Kevin Durant talking shit to Landry Shamet and Danilo Gallinari. What are you doing, dude? Like
Dude,
you know. Let me finish my point. When he's out there, when he's facing a guy like Kawhi, he's not talking all that shit. You know, just throwing an example out there. So it's like, why are you doing this to these nobodies? No disrespect to Gallinari and Landry Shamet, but they're not exactly big names and really phenomenal players.
because he's an insecure guy who's yearning to have some type of identity. He has no identity. He has no idea who he is.
Yeah, you gotta be consistent though, right? Like, if you're gonna be that guy that if you're gonna be that guy that talks shit and gets in everybody's face, you gotta do it all the time. You can't just dunk on a guy that's like what 12 inches shorter than you and be like,
Kev,
oh man, yeah.
he has a complex, bro. He's just looking for validation.
Yeah, it's like like an insecure girl that's like just has a bunch of guys texting them so they could feel valued.
I actually no, like I feel bad for him because it's like he listens to what everybody says so much that he doesn't know who he wants to be.
Yeah, it's awkward, and the team plays great regardless of Kevin Durant's own confidence and his mannerisms. Um,
Yeah,
the team plays great, but without him, they obviously would not be the force they are. So he does add something, and I think people discount that a little bit too much. They seem to give all the greatness and all the accolades to Stephen Curry, where Kevin Durant wasn't here. I don't know if Golden State is the number one seed today.
I mean I'm on record to say I think if Kevin Durant leaves the Warriors are still going to be title contenders.
Yeah, they'll be title contenders. They'll be top four seeds in the West, but they're not going to be the juggernaut that they are.
Well, it's a rarity having a talent like Durant to make him a juggernaut, but I still think they can reach the finals.
Yeah, especially with no KD on the West. If KD goes to the East,
We all know he's going to the Knicks.
I guess we'll see. Time will tell. I don't want to talk about that though. But do you think the Clippers can win another game, or you think this is it?
R.I.P. Clippers season. R.I.P.
Yep. Well, the last series we alluded to it earlier. The last series we got to talk about is Houston. Houston and Utah. Where the fuck is Utah? Right?
Yo, they disappointed the fuck out of me.
Yeah,
Like
they just look lost.
horrible. Their offense is slow and it's outdated.
No
They just look
continuity in the
no
offense.
continuity. It's horrible. Houston is picking them apart.
Yeah, then on the other end, they they don't have an answer for Houston's 3-point shots and Houston more than Houston, but James Harden's just willingness to go to the rim or his ability to go to the rim at will. They don't have an answer for it, and nobody does. But James Harden was able to help keep his team in the game without scoring a shot on Saturday, without making a shot on Saturday night for the first two quarters. He went like 0 for 15 at half.
Houston is getting wide open threes. Wide open threes. James Harden had a historically bad shooting night, and they still won.
Terrible shooting night. But he
Historically
got
bad.
to the free throw line like 15 times, so he made up for it.
They still won. That's what's crazy. Like Utah had chances, and they just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, they're one and done on offense. If Donovan Mitchell's not having a good game, there's nothing they can do.
They're fucked.
Derek Favors has been non-existent. Rudy Gobert is the usual force on defense, but there's only so much that one man can do on defense. and they're switching Ricky Rubio to James Harden like willingly in the clutch moments of the game, and like, what are you doing? Ricky Rubio can't guard James Harden.
Their defense on James Harden has been horrendous. Horrendous.
Hmm. And it's easy to say, James Harden is probably the most unguardable player in the league today, and one of the most unguardable ever.
Yeah,
So
but either their traps are terrible, their double teams are not strong enough, or they're fronting too much. It's just a clusterfuck.
yeah, I thought they would be better. I thought they'd at least win one game. I thought this series would go six.
Me too. I had it for 6 games.
This was on paper one of the more entertaining matchups to me. I looked at it, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a good matchup, you know. But Houston is just they're doing it, and they're making PJ Tucker look like a valuable player, right?
I mean, he kind of is though. He does everything for that team.
Yeah, but he's never been this important to a team before in his entire career that I can remember.
I mean, expanded role now that Trevor Reeves is gone. His role has been magnified.
Yeah, he plays effort, defense. That's really his specialty. Open threes.
Most definitely.
Uh, you don't think they stand a chance though against Golden State?
Nope.
You think they can win one though?
Yeah,
They could probably win two.
they could, but if Golden State's clicking like they were like the past 2 games against the Clippers, it's over.
Yeah, I mean that is the Clippers though. Like I was surprised the Clippers even won one against Golden State.
I was shocked. I think we all were.
Yeah, they're a team of like I don't want to say scrubs, but they're a team of role players.
No, that's what they are, literally.
Yeah, they're a team of just excellent role players. Now they don't have Clint Capella, James Harden, and Chris Paul, so it's gonna be different playing Houston. But um, yeah, assumingly this series is over, I do want to ask you though, out of out of all the uncompleted series, who do you think is a favorite to upset? I'm not can't count Denver and San Antonio because they're tied. So out of Portland, Oklahoma City, Houston and Utah, Milwaukee, Detroit, Philly and Brooklyn, Toronto and Orlando, which one out of those do you see upsetting the team that's in the lead? Yeah, did we lose you? Still there?
Oh shit, I was having connection issues. My bad. Would you ask me, bro?
So I was saying out of every series that has not been completed yet, who do you think that's down has the biggest probability to upset the team that's beating them?
Hmm. Brooklyn.
Do you think so?
Yeah, they play hard.
Yeah, I think yeah, I don't know. I would say Oklahoma City, but the way they played tonight was brutal.
Yeah,
So
it was very encouraging.
yeah, it was extremely. I'd have to say Brooklyn as well. They've been competitive and they've been on the brink of winning a few games that just didn't go their way. And Orlando's they can't match up with Toronto. It's just not fair.
Yeah,
Detroit is, I mean, Detroit, like, yeah, they're not coming back and winning four straight games against Milwaukee. The Clippers might win one more against Golden State. I don't think Utah's gonna win anything. I mean, they might surprise me and win the game tomorrow. And OKC is just I don't know what this. I can't even put a word on this situation.
like with Philly, I think they legitimately know in Philly that they escaped Brooklyn the last game.
Yeah,
That Brooklyn had that thing wrapped up.
yeah. Brooklyn's had their number in some quarters in the games. Yeah, they've got a lot of talent over there, and they could easily upset. But I don't think it's gonna happen. But I do think it
Yeah,
is the most likely.
yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, man. You got anything else you want to throw in?
The second round is gonna be bonkers.
Yeah. What potential matchup are you excited for the most?
Uh, Milwaukee and Boston, because it could swing either way. I'm excited for Portland versus potentially San Antonio and or Denver, and I'm intrigued what Houston might do against Golden State.
Yeah, I'm intrigued for the potential Philly and Toronto matchup.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler versus Kawhi. That's a great matchup.
Yeah, I think Philly might play pretty. Philly should be able to play well against Toronto.
I
They
mean, they should.
they should. They don't. They don't have anybody that's gonna guard Ben Simmons, but that not like that. Not like that matters.
Yeah, man.
All right.
So it's
Well,
gonna be fun.
yeah, it's gonna be fun to keep it locked. We're gonna be watching all the games. We're gonna be talking more about the playoffs. Now that you're better, maybe we could talk more often.
Yeah, we'll be back next Sunday.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, till next time, everybody.